Welcome. My name is Debbie and this is Pouring My Art Out for the Lord. And this is our second video in Junk Journals 101. We're working on level 1. The first video in level 1, I showed you the pieces of the journal that we're going to be working with. So hopefully if you're going to play along, you've watched that, you've got your kit, you've printed out all of your various papers and you're ready to go. So this time we're just going to make a journal. So I gave you two different cover options. So I think I'm going to use this one. So the first thing we need to do is just fold this in half this way. One thing I didn't mention is this is all letter size paper, 8.5 by 11. If you are using A4 paper, it will be similar. If you print borderless, I'm not exactly sure. I think it'll still print border to border, like with no white spaces. But if you have any white spaces, maybe just on these two edges, just cut them off. It may cut off a little bit of your image, but these images, these collage images, are made in a way that it doesn't really affect it, so it'll be fine. But this is 8.5 by 11. So the first thing we want to do is just take our cover piece and fold it in half. So I just fold it this way. Meet these edges. Just kind of use your fingers to make sure it's folded nice and neat. And then I'll just usually go down here to the center and go out like that. And then we have a cover piece. Simple as that. That is our cover. Then we need our pages. And you can print or you can fold 1 or 2 pages at once because these are very thin. And I'll show you some tips and tricks and different pieces of equipment to help you with this, but I'm not going to do any of that in level 1. So we just fold those in half like that. Take 2 more pages. Fold those in half. Kind of making sure that they're even there. They're not perfect. Anytime, you don't do something that's absolutely perfect in a junk journal, it's totally fine. This is a junk journal. This is not a, it'll be beautiful because it's something that you made. It doesn't have to be perfect. Then what we can do, we have 6 pages. And we can arrange them however we like. I have 3 different patterns here. So I think what I'll do is I will just kind of alternate them. So I'll do one of those, one of those, one of these. Some of them have an up, a directional print. So this I would put at the top. So I'll make sure that's at the top. This one doesn't matter. Inside, I want this at the top because that's the top of my page. This one doesn't matter, and this one doesn't matter. So we'll just stack all of the pages like that. Make sure they're all nice and even. And then we're going to get ready to stitch the signature into the cover. Now for putting your signatures in, sewing your signatures, you do need a couple of basic supplies. You need some sort of thread. This is just a heavy cotton thread. I often use crochet cotton, thin crochet cotton. You can use a heavy thread. Some people use like a waxed linen thread that is specially made for that. But any kind of heavy thread to begin with that will fit through the eye of a needle will work. So I'm just going to use that. This one I think picked up from a thrift store. Thrift stores can be your best friend when you're a junk journaler. Then I have a needle, and I need a needle with a large enough eye that I can thread my thread through. So it doesn't have to be a certain, size or width. You don't want it too wide. you know, super thick, but you do need it to be thick enough to get your thread through. So whatever you have. You can, if you don't have anything like that, I'm sure you can find these at the dollar store, and I'm sure you can find some heavy thread at the dollar store as well if you need to purchase something. A ruler and a pencil is helpful. I don't always use a ruler for this purpose, but I'm sure you have a ruler around, and a pencil. I need a scissor. This is optional. This is called an awl, A-W-L, and we often refer to this as a pokey tool, and it just has a sharp end on it. It's not, I mean, super sharp, but it's fairly, I mean, it's pointy. This is an older one. I have, this one is a new one that I purchased, a set of 2. This is a really old antique one that my husband found in our old garage, so I like that one too. But you can, if you have something like that, that is helpful, but if you don't, you can just use your needle to poke some holes. This is just for poking holes. And then the other thing that I like to have is some kind of big book that I can just use as kind of a something to poke into, and it's helpful to have a book, because then you have this crease which can help you. But if you don't have a, you know, a foam book or something like that, you can use a piece of foam, and you could probably do it without anything, but this is just, it's kind of helpful to have. It doesn't have to be a foam book. It can be, you want maybe a little bit bigger book, but it could be an old atlas. It could be, you know, just something bigger with, you know, cheap pages, whatever you have. So let's get started with that. So we have all of our pages folded inside each other. So they're all nested inside each other, and we're going to nest that inside of our cover. So that should all fit perfectly. Depending on how many pages you have, sometimes they can stick out a little bit. That doesn't bother me at all. Some people trim that off, but sometimes it can get messier when you trim it off than if you don't. So I'm just going to leave it on. So the first thing I want to do is open up to the center, and I want to mark a couple of markings with my pencil and ruler, and hopefully you can see the crease there on the camera. So my paper is 8.5 this way, so half of 8.5 is 4 1/4. I'm just going to make a little mark at 4 1/4 right along that crease line. Then I'm going to make another mark at 1 inch from the top, or 1 inch in from the side, and I'm going to make another mark 1 inch in from the other side. So now I have 1 inch and a mark, 1 inch and a mark, and a mark in the center. So those are our 3 marks that we're going to make holes. Sometimes people use, there's many different ways of binding actually, but it's called a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, and another real common one is a 5-hole pamphlet stitch, but we're going to do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So put your book into the crease of your foam book or whatever you have. That's why it's handy to have that, because it just lies in there. All the pages just line up really nicely. If you have some kind of pokey tool, put it right on the crease where you marked your pencil mark and press it in right through, so that you can have it coming through on the outside there. If you don't have that, you can use a needle, and you can just poke that in. I'm going to use my pokey tool because I'm afraid I'm going to go through my nail or something if I do that, but you can use a needle if you're careful. So you want 3 holes, 1, 2, 3. Then you can put your foam book away. That's all we need that for. Then we need some thread, and we need generally from 2.5 to 3 times the height of our book. So let's just do 3 times, and we have a little extra if we need it. So that's 1, 2, 3, and cut that off. So then we have our piece of thread, and then we need to thread it onto our needle. This might be the hardest part of the whole journal. Threading needles. That one wasn't too bad. So make sure you have a long tail and a shorter tail. Not too short, you don't want it to come through. And then we're going to put our needle through the center hole and out the back. And pull it. And then I usually just put my finger on here so that it doesn't come through. Because if I pull this too far, this is actually going to come right through the hole and I'm going to lose it, right? I'll usually put my thumb here, but you can also have like a binder clip or a bulldog clip and just put it kind of to the side here. Put that clip on that end, and then you're not going to lose it. So I'll do that as well. Okay, so then back to the outside, we have our thread on the outside. Then go in through the top. So find out where your hole is that we made in the top. And poke it in. Sometimes you might have to kind of fiddle around to find the hole, especially if your pages have moved a little bit. And then come in to the inside of the book. Then you go all the way to the top, or to the bottom rather, I guess that's the bottom. All the way to the bottom and go out through that hole. You can watch this over and over if you're just watch it slowly and do one step at a time. So in through the bottom to the outside again. And then lastly, from the outside, we want to go back in through the middle hole, the same hole that we started with. So we poke our needle in there and we come in through there. Then we can take the thread off the needle. We're done with the needle. And then we have two loose threads in the middle of our book. So the first thing I do is, sometimes I try to even them out a little bit. This, I'm not going to worry about it because I have a long enough tail here anyways. That's why it's good to have a little bit extra. And you have this loose string in the middle, and we want one string on the right side and one string on the left side of that middle. And then I kind of straighten them this way with my 2 hands and give it a good tug. Not too much to rip the paper, but you want it pretty taut. Then I just kind of hold those 2 ends close here and just make sure that those are, they sound tight. Make sure there's not, big loops here. Sometimes that happens. You want them to be fairly tight. Go back inside, and then you just want to tie a knot around that middle string. So 1, 2. Fairly tight, but you don't want to break your thread. And then you can just trim off those 2 edges and you can get rid of that. And guess what? You now have a journal. So there's our cover. And here are all our pages sewn into the journal. If you're a little crooked and it didn't work so great, this is your first journal, so don't worry about it. Isn't that cool? So we have our own book. So take a little break and enjoy that. All right, so then the next thing we want to do is make some pockets and some tags. So just do a little bit of decorating. We're not going to do too much in here, and there's lots of writing space, and if you want, you could just leave it just like this. But I'm going to take it a little bit farther. So we have a piece of of paper with 4 different patterns on it. So I'm just going to cut those patterns apart. And there's many, 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 many different ways to make pockets. We're just going to stick with really simple ones today. So you just cut those apart. Okay. Then for one of these, because we have, this will be exactly the width of our page. I think what I'm going to do is just cut off just a little sliver, because it'll be easier if it's a little bit narrower. So see how I just cut off that probably 1/8 of an inch off the edge there. And then what I'm going to do is just cut this in half. So I'll flip it over because it's white on the back. And this, I'm just going to line it up on my grid, or you could do it with a ruler. So this is 4 1/4 inches on the short end. So half of that is 2 1/8. So I'm just going to put a little line at 2 1/8. Turn it over. And 2 1/8. And then I'm going to connect my 2 lines here. Like that. And I'm going to cut on those lines. And then we have 2 pockets. Okay, easy peasy. Then we're going to take another one of the pieces and we're going to make pockets in the other direction, just for fun. This one we don't need to trim. So this is 5 1/2 in that direction. So I'm going to go half of that, so that would be 2 3/4. Just put a little line on that side, put a little line at this side, connect my 2 lines, and cut. Just like that. We have 2 more pockets. Then I'm going to, I think I'm just going to leave this one just as is, but I'm going to cut just a sliver off the side again. Like that. Yeah, I think I'll just leave one just like that. And then this one, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to make a line from diagonal to diagonal. If you don't want to make all these different, I'm just going to give you some options. If you want to make them all like this first one, that's totally fine. I was just going to do that, but I thought I might as well give you some different options. So from corner to corner diagonally, and then cut on that line. Okay, so now we have pockets. We have 7 pockets. No. 2, 4, 6, 7 pockets, yes. Then we need to talk about glue. So there's lots of different people that swear by lots of different kinds of glue. One of the most popular ones is Art Glitter Glue. Bearly Arts Glue is another very popular one. They're very good glues. Where I am in Canada, they're also very expensive. I tried Art Glitter and I really liked it, but I found this one. This one is very inexpensive for me. I buy it in almost a liter. I think the last one I bought for $7. So I bought that. I buy this. This is probably about my 4th big bottle like this I've gone through since I've switched to this. So I use it for everything. I love it. And then what I do is I bought a pack, I think it's a 3-pack of these small little bottles. And they have a really fine tip on them, which is really good for gluing pockets and things like that. So I use this to refill these. So, and I also have these little guys, which have the same glue, but I refilled those ones as well. It's a little bit finicky to glue it, especially it's such a big pour spout at the top and such a little one here. You can use a funnel if you want, you know, different tricks to refill them. But I really like using this, especially for pockets and stuff. It's nice to have that really fine line. So then we have 24 pages, because we have 6 pages and each page has 4 sides to it. So we have 24 pages and we have 7 pockets. So if you kind of want to split the pockets evenly throughout your journal, that's a pocket every 3 to 4 pages. Often we like to put pockets either in the front or the back cover. It's a nice strong area, and you can kind of put, you know, a bigger pocket or something. Maybe I'll put the big pocket here right at the very back. So I'm going to just put it at the back. I'm going to glue it on 3 sides. So 1, 2, 3. Leave the top open. So, oh, and the reason I have a pin in here is because it's such a fine little tip there. This is the best way for keeping this glue flowing and not clogging up. And you need to use stainless steel pins. If you use just ordinary pins, they'll rust and then it'll make your glue turn brown. I did that at the beginning. But I found a pack of, I don't know, like 100 pins or something. This is one of them there. They're stainless steel. I think they were, you know, like a couple of dollars online at Temu. I think I bought those from. So sometimes these tips come with them, sometimes they don't. So I flip this over. I always hold it on the side that I don't want to glue. I don't want to glue the top. So I'll hold it on that side so I don't accidentally glue there. And then I just want a fine bead of glue, a fine line of glue on those 2 sides and the bottom. And just kind of center that on there. You don't want it to interfere with your pages turning. So if you put it, that's why we take a little tiny sliver off so you can have it there. And then just kind of smooth it out. This particular glue dries fairly quickly, but not as quickly as art glitter. So you do have to be a little bit careful not to move it while it's drying. But I mean, it's seconds really. I mean, it's pretty much dry already. But with this glue, you can, if you don't get it quite right, you can adjust a little bit. Whereas with some of the faster glue, drying glues, once you got it down, you can't really adjust too much. So, okay, so now we have 6 pockets and 24 pages. So that means about every 4 pages. And you don't have to do it exactly like that, but just if you want to space them out. So I'm going to just start here and put a pocket. So I'm going to just glue that pocket, same as I did before, turn it over and do on 3 sides like that. And then this one I'm going to kind of center in the middle, up a little bit from the bottom, doesn't have to be. And then you have another pocket. If you want, you can put 2 pockets on 1 page. Often we do that. And you can have, you know, a pocket there and a pocket there. But I'm just going to put 1 on every 4 or so pages. So that's 2, 4. So then in the next 4 pages here, I'll put another pocket. Maybe I'll use a different one here. I'll use this one. So this one is, it could be this way. And actually the flowers kind of make it look like that would be better. Or you could do it this way. So I think this one I'll put this way, so I'm not going to glue that side. I'm going to glue the other sides. This one I'm going to have to trim just a tiny bit off on the edge, you'll see in a minute. You want it just a little ways away from the inner spine there. because you don't want that to hinder turning your pages. And see how this one is just a tiny smidge too long for my page. So I'm just going to snip that off. And there's another pocket. And then I have this set of 4 pages. I'll figure out a pocket I want there. Maybe I'll put it right there. You can put a pocket at the bottom. You can put a pocket halfway up. You can even put a pocket on the side. We're not going to get too fancy yet, so I'm just going to put a pocket at the bottom this time. Pockets are nice for, you know, often junk journals become kind of a place to collect little bits and pieces. So if you have, you know, a little bit of a letter or a quote that you wrote, or, you know, all kinds of little tidbits, it's just nice to have these pockets, and you can just tuck things in wherever you want. So now I have, this is half of my book is on that side and half of my book is on that side. So on half of my book I have 3 pockets. So there's 1, 2, and 3. So then I actually didn't really think about that too much, but I have 1 of each pocket too. So I have 1 of those smaller pockets, 1 slanted pocket, and 1 longer pocket. So on half the book and the other half of the book, I'll put my other 3 pockets. So I'll just take my next 4 pages, so those 2 and those 2, and decide where I want my pocket. Maybe I'll stick this one here. This time I'm going to put it this way instead of this way. So again, I'm not going to glue there, so I'll hold it there. And I usually leave a little bit of border so I don't glue right to the edge, but that's not necessary. Okay, so there's 1. And that was in those 4 pages. So I'm going to take the next 4 pages, these 2 here, and decide which one I want to put my next pocket on. Probably, I mean, you could do it on the next page too. I think I'll put it right there. Okay, so I'll just glue that one right there. And then on the last 2 pages, the last 4 pages, I will put 1 more pocket. So I think I'll just put it right there. And then we have 6 pockets on our pages, plus 1 pocket on the back cover, the inside back cover, for a total of 7 pockets. And if you really wanted to, you can print off this page, the pocket page, twice, and you could put more pockets. But again, I'm just keeping this as simple as possible because it's our first journal. So there, and there's our pocket on the back. So there's our journal. So the next step is to cut out our tags and our journal cards. So what I'm going to do, I'll just show you how I cut one. It's not that difficult to cut, but I'm just going to cut one just so you can see. Cut there. And because we print it on the back, border to border, or borderless, what I'm cutting away the white on the front, but on the back we're going to actually have some patterned paper, some colored paper. So I'm not going to do it for this level 1, but for another level we can use some of these pieces to make other little bits. We can make tiny little pockets or something. Another part of junk journaling is we always have a scrap bin. So have a little box or whatever on the side of your desk and throw these things in there. And once you get into junk journaling, you'll find lots and lots of videos that use up the scraps in different ways. So just stick that in our scrap bin, and we have one tag, front and back. So I'm just going to cut the rest of these out. Actually, before I do that, let me just show you. I'm going to cut one of these out as well. This is even easier. It's just four straight sides. And again, this will be good for the scrap bin. If you don't want to keep it, you just throw it in the garbage. They're pretty small. But there's one of our pieces of our journal cards. So I'm just going to get the rest of these cut out, and then I'll be right back and show you how I put them in the pockets. So I have all of my tags and journal cards cut out. Now I'm just going to put them in my journal. So I'm going to put a few in my pockets. So I have 6 tags. So I think what I'm going to do is put one tag in each pocket, first of all. And you can put multiple things in one pocket, which is what we will do. So one in each pocket. And then we can add some of these journal cards. So I'll put maybe a couple different journal cards in there. Maybe a couple different ones in here. This one could even use maybe 3. A couple extra ones in here. A couple extra ones in here. And you can pull these out and, you know, add little things to them. These are a little bit too small to fit in there because they will poke out, or they won't poke out, rather. They will, so this is kind of a big pocket, so I think I'm going to stick a couple more in there and a couple, one more in here. There. So we have all of our pockets and all of our journal cards starting to get a little bit more of a weight, especially on the bottom there, but that's okay. So we still have lots of writing space. We can use these journals for many different things. If you're interested in junk journals, you probably have some ideas of what you might make them for. Sometimes we just make them just because we enjoy making pretty things. And that's okay. Lots of art is just made and admired. It has no useful function. So then the last piece that I have here is some words and little phrases. So I'm just going to cut out a few of these. I don't think I'm going to do them all. So I'm just going to cut these out, and then I'll show you a couple of ideas on how I put them in the journal. All right, so I just cut out probably maybe a little bit over a third of the pieces. I didn't do, let me actually just do a couple of these longer ones because I think one of those might be nice for the cover. So we could have cherish. Could put a couple of words here. Cherish, reflections. Maybe that's what I will do. Or reflections, cherish. I think Cherish Reflections. So I'm just gonna put some glue on the back of these guys. These ones I'm just gonna kind of put it aslant. Like that. So Cherish Reflections, and then the cover has lots going on, so that's probably good for the cover. Now on the pockets, sometimes the pockets seem to need something. You know, you can put a little bit on the pocket. So this one says embrace the moments. So I'll put that on that pocket. Just adds a little special something to the pocket. Never give up, or I can have maybe just one word, abide here. Because that one's got a bit of a busy background with the flowers, so that looks nice. Here's another one. I'll just put always on that one. Sometimes it's nice not to put things smack dab in the middle, just kind of off to the side. Looks nice. Here's another pocket. I'll put just a single word on that one. Trust. There. This one. You can also do a little bit of a kind of a few words. Let's see. Find joy in the everyday. Never give up. Joy in the everyday. I think those three might look good together. So I'm going to try to center this one. Do a lot of eyeballing in junk journaling. If you want to measure exactly, you're always welcome to do that. But a lot of people just kind of eyeball things. It's part of the relaxed nature of making a junk journal. It doesn't have to be perfect. The imperfections make it obvious that this is a labor of love and it's done, you know, by hand. So you can just put 3 like that. Here's another one. That's still going to be too big. Just put one of these squares there again. Trust in the Lord. And then for the big one, I thought I could do this big quote here. And I think I'm just going to put it off to the side a little bit. So that gives us a nice big quote there. Now this one can be used, you can just glue it like on the side of a page like that. Maybe I'll see if I have a, this one has a pocket there, I'll have a page where there's nothing on either side. Just so that every time you flip you'll have something to look at. There's that one. Here's a blank spread as well. So you can put these wherever you want on a page. Stick that one down there. Together Forever. That has a decoration. Let's see about putting something here. You can put it kind of in the middle. You can put it on the side, down at the bottom. I think I'm just going to put it right there. This one doesn't have anything either. I'll put that one up here. And you have lots more words that you can cut out if you want to use them all in this journal. That is totally fine. I might just do that. I kind of like the words. Grace, grace, grace. Maybe right there. I like having something at least on every page. There's that one. So every page has something. And we still have more than half of our words left. So there is your journal. I hope you're able to follow along and do that. We could do lots more in here, but this is the end of this level 1. I just wanted to keep it very simple. So I guess I don't have anything there. I could put something right there. We have pockets, we have tags, we have journaling cards, we have embellish. That's another word for like the labels or flowers or different things. We can call them embellishments. Something on almost every page. So you can take these tags out, you can write on the back and put them back in your pocket. Just a nice, sweet little journal. I hope you made one and I hope you're enjoying it. Got a little glue there. And I gave you 2 covers. So if you enjoyed putting the first one together, why don't you go and make the second one, a second cover, and make another journal, and then you can make it slightly different. You can add, you know, do a little bit different pockets. You can use the rest of your words and make another little journal. Print out the pages inside, get some practice sewing in the signatures. So there is level 1 journal. Congratulations. So we'll see you soon for level 2, and blessings.